Hey. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
How are you doing?
Really well, thank you.
Have you tried your tea yet?
The tea that smells like pork chops.
But how does it smell like pork chops? It's echinacea and blueberry, I think, or echinacea and something else.
It's probably because
Can I smell that? No pork chop eater has been drinking from that cup. That's what she said.
It's because I've been vegetarian for so long.
That's not pork.
I'm missing pork, and your tea is reminding me of...
It's echinacea. We don't have pork in the house.
It's good, thank you.
My wife won't allow it. And to be fair, I'm not a big pork fan anyway.
I used to love pork.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's for a human, it's a tasty meat to eat.
Yeah.
I think actually, but you're from the UK as well, like me. So there's a huge bacon
and eggs. That's how we used to get woken up. It's the best way to wake up.
You used to get waken up with bacon and eggs. They just threw them at you. Get up, Tan! It's time for school. Was that it?
I wish. No.
Maybe different in Manchester to Essex or London. Maybe a bit too much volume here. There. Once we start laughing, it was all going a bit too loud.
Okay, so no jokes then, no laughing.
Absolutely no laughing.
So tell me about this. I'm going to interview you.
You're going to interview me?
Tell me about this podcast.
Okay, that's a good start. Why not?
Tell me about this podcast. What is the idea behind Talk Hack?
The thing is, if we talk about the idea behind it, we're not actually doing it. It's almost like saying, let's plan going to run 100 meters. Why don't you just fucking run 100 meters?
Okay.
Do you know, that's not to put you down, Tan. It's
a
perfectly valid question.
No, I get it. Because I'm fascinated by the idea of, I think it's in science or even it's in science in what's the science that studies atoms, subatomic theory, where basically it's an idea of if you look at something,
quantum physics, maybe
quantum physics.
Yeah.
As soon as you look at it, it's no longer what it is. So you can't describe it because as soon as you describe it, it changes.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that concept? Where there are certain particles down there that exist.
I'm there.
But as soon as you observe it, it no longer exists. So I'm comparing it to like you saying, well, we can't talk about what this podcast is because as soon as you talk about it, it's no longer what it's supposed to be. Is that what you meant by that?
No, not at all. I just mean
so it's got nothing to do with quantum physics.
It's all right. It's a good introduction to figure out our own standpoints on philosophy and quantum physics. Why not?
But I get the idea of sometimes not wanting to talk about things. Mm-hmm. Because as soon as you talk about it, it changes.
I guess it's that life is not a rehearsal. Maybe my philosophy swings more towards that. Whereas,
right. So
why talk about it when we could just be doing it?
Right. You're talking about planning. So you don't. I like that because there is a way of thinking where planning is, to me, planning is essential, but plans are useless. So planning as a verb, as a thing to do, is very, very useful.
Yeah.
But plans as a noun, not very useful.
I guess my response might be going back a little bit, but trying to articulate it a bit clearer. Is that when you said, "Tell me, what is this podcast?" Where in fact, even that question is part of what it is. And so to answer you, it's best to just find an argument.
All right.
Or just talk. Okay, so talk hack. But it's a good question. Why not? Just answer it straightforward, and we could have saved ourselves 20 minutes. Talk hack. So we're talking, right? It's a podcast. There's that in there. Talk hack. I just thought was a great sounding podcast name. Hacks, as in maybe life hacks. Maybe we can share some ideas or things you've learned about what you do that could be useful for other people. You've spent 20, 30 years being a content creator.
Come on.
I don't know. You're older than me.
Barely.
But still, I've done things for 30 years.
What have you done for 30 years?
What have I done for 30 years? Been interested in skateboarding.
Have you?
Yeah.
For 30 years?
Yeah, absolutely. I would have been 12, younger, more than 30 years when I would have been younger than 12 when I got into skateboarding. So that's something I've been had a keen interest in for more than 30 years.
Damn, I'm ashamed now. I don't know if I have anything for 30
Basketball,
years.
maybe for you. When did you first get interested in basketball?
Yeah, exactly 30 years ago.
Okay, there you go. So there is
1991.
Tell me about that, because I'm not a basketball player. I played it at school, but because I didn't really like soccer, and I had to do one or the other.
Yeah.
I was more into athletics. I threw discus, but for me, basketball was a bit more exciting, a bit more interesting, and there was a few less dicks in the court than there was on the pitch.
Oh, interesting. I never thought of it that way, but that's true. That's true. Basketball players are generally more easier to hang out with than football players, in my experience.
And was that your introduction to it?
No, I'll tell you, my introduction to basketball was Will Smith. I started watching Fresh Prince.
Oh my goodness, I love that.
And yeah, BBC Two.
Yeah.
6 o'clock. I started watching, and the reason I started watching Fresh Prince, this might be related now to what you really want to talk about, which is self-confidence.
Maybe.
And as a kid, Fresh Prince was the first person who I saw on TV that made fun of himself for being a geek.
Right.
That was quite groundbreaking for me, because before that, you're either a geek or you're cool. Will was cool for being a geek in his show.
I didn't realize he was a geek.
Oh, no.
I didn't realize he was a geek. I thought he was just the cool, cocky kid.
That's what you think. But the first episode I ever watched of Fresh Prince was him being completely rejected by a girl and making it cool. Now, as a 13-year-old who was getting rejected by girls, it didn't occur to me that can be cool.
All right.
Seriously. So Fresh Prince after that, it came, like the whole making jokes about yourself and not getting girls. The first person that did that was Fresh Prince. So there was one episode where he's standing next to a girl and he's saying some stuff and she's just like completely rejecting him. And then the audience is loving it, and I'm loving it. And he's just he's being cool while being rejected. So I thought, who is this guy? I need to watch more of this. And then I started watching it more. And then each of the episodes, he's always all about Michael Jordan. So I'm like, who's this Michael Jordan? What is Michael Jordan? What's the Air Jordan? Because he's always wearing Air Jordan. What is this logo? That was the first thing I noticed. He's always wearing the Jordan logo on his clothes and on his shoes. So then I started looking into what Michael Jordan is. And then I thought, okay, the Bulls. And that happened to be 1991 when the Bulls won their first championship.
Okay. Yeah. Which I'm watching the documentary at the moment.
Right.
I'm on just finished episode 2. So yeah, I'm learning about that myself.
Yeah. So I lived it. 91 was the first year that I found out about it. They just won. So 92 was the first year I actually started watching. And back then it was quite difficult in England. There's not that much basketball being shown, but they did show it once a week on Screen Sport.
Well, once a week was regular for anything on TV in the UK back then.
Yeah.
Right? Everything was once a week,
Yeah.
apart from the news. Like EastEnders was even once a week, maybe even twice a week.
I thought EastEnders was daily. Or did that
No,
happen later?
no, much later. Yeah. It was a weekly thing to start with. Like most things, it was like this. Today will be Only Fools and Horses, Thursday at 5 p.m. or 8 p.m. And then next week you can watch the next episode. There's no kind of binge watching TV back in the 90s. It was, you've got to wait for it.
Oh, man.
Do you not remember that?
Of course.
Yeah.
I tell my kids that all the time, like how much they don't appreciate having things on demand anytime they want. They don't understand the concept of you have to be in front of that TV at 7 o'clock sharp or you've missed it.
You missed it, yeah. And look, we haven't got a tape recorder. We've run out of spare tapes to record it, which is illegal anyway because that's pirating. But games as well. Do you remember that? You had to wait a decade for them to load up.
Oh, yeah.
Like the tape side
what
might
was
be
your
between.
First computer?
It was an Atari, like KE or XE. It was the shit version of the good one. It was like
ST was the good one.
Okay, we had the shit version because my mum wasn't going to pay the extra, I don't know, £50, wherever it costs. Which then was a lot of money
to me.
And so it didn't.
I was a Spectrum owner, and we looked up. We wished we were Atari owners.
Really?
Because in my opinion, Spectrum was the basement. All Spectrum owners will know who's watching this. They will know. There's always an inferiority complex with being a Spectrum owner.
I thought Spectrum was like supposed to be cool, but it depends what it was.
Maybe the grass
this wasn't
is
a
always
console.
greener
This
on
was
the
an
other
actual computer. Yeah. Grass is always greener, yeah, absolutely.
On the other side. But just being a Spectrum owner, we always secretly looked up to Commodore owners and Atari owners.
Well, Commodore 64 was the one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were
But then you got the Sega Master System came out and that kind of changed everything. Hey, but back to the basketball, because I'm curious, because it's a game that I'm not so familiar with. But I mean, I guess I got more introduced to and liked the atmosphere around it because of the film White Men Can't Jump. That was 92. Was it 92?
That was 92.
Right. Okay. So you got into it in 91.
Yep.
92. That film came out.
I went to see it in the cinema.
I think I did too.
Okay.
You know?
Well, you don't. I was thinking you'd have to be a fan to go see it. So you were not really a basketball fan, but you went to see it anyway.
Yeah, of course, because it was like popular, and I think it might have made basketball popular for at least for a period. So go on, carry on your journey.
So yeah, 91 Bulls was my team. Michael Jordan was my favorite player all the way through the 90s, and it wasn't until the 95 season. One thing I'm freakishly good at. I'm good with years. And how I remember years it's really sad. This is how much I'm into basketball. If you name me a year, the reason I know that year is dependent on what happened in the NBA in that year.
Yeah.
So like test it now. Just give me any year. Just give me any year between 91 and now. And I know what happened in that year in terms of basketball.
2002.
2002 was the Lakers' third championship. Kobe and Shaq. They beat
Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, they beat the New Jersey Nets. So that's how I remember years. So then I remember what was I doing?
Yeah.
When the Lakers were playing.
Sorry.
No, when the Lakers
Still
were
a new podcast. We're building it as we're talking.
We have to do a behind the scenes video on how this is made. But yeah, when the Lakers were winning, when the Lakers were playing the Nets in 2002, what was I doing? And that's how I know what was happening in 2002. It's always connected to basketball.
Wow.
Do you have that? I'm wondering if other people have that. How do you remember? If I tell you what happened in 98, how do you...
Generally through music.
Yeah,
and
that's
albums.
what I mean. So some people have that. For me, it's basketball.
Yeah.
Every year from 91 till now.
Music, films. But I'm not, I wouldn't say after the mid-90s, I kind of lost track of it. I didn't care so much about those things. I got into drinking too much, I think. Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of years were kind of forgotten about just because they blended into one, So yeah, that was I don't have the same thing.
Okay.
Is my response to that, Tan.
Yeah.
But what is it about the game? What is it that kind of
good question.
makes you go, oh, it's so cool, and why not soccer, or why not hockey, or
if you want to get into that,
so
I have. So basically, basketball. Oh man, I have to tell you something. I've never told this to anyone yet.
Amazing. This is a first.
This is an idea that I've
first.
been working on, and I don't want anyone to steal it before I do it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I have an idea to do either a series of videos or audio basketballs, and the title is going to be. Should I say it? Yeah, I'm going to say
have you got the
I have
the domain yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, maybe you should get that first. Maybe after doing
I'll
this,
tell you the concept without the name.
You've got like 3 weeks until I maybe post this, and then you can go.
Don't give me a deadline.
Maybe not. Maybe not 3 weeks. Maybe a month. Maybe 2 months. Maybe
Fine.
a year.
That'll
We'll
give me a
see. But
deadline.
I'll give you some time.
Okay. Yeah. Why basketball? And
You haven't given me the name.
I'm not going to give you the name yet because I'm still working on it. But I'll give you the concept, which is basketball mirrored in life, because every basketball is the true reflection of life.
Okay, this is good stuff.
So you can connect basketball to the largest things in the universe or the smallest things in the atomic universe. That's what I see. That's how important basketball is. And the reason why not soccer, it's so easy, right? First of all, there's no reward. The reward system is flawed. So no matter how hard you play in soccer, it doesn't depend on, that has no influence on the outcome of the game. Whereas in basketball, everything you do, there's a feedback and there's a reward.
Wait, I don't understand. Sorry, because to me they're both team games. They both have a score. Like one's got a net, one's got a goal. With both nets. But
how many 1-0 games have you seen where the better team just didn't score?
But that's a different point, though, isn't it? What you're saying is that there's more. It's a quicker game, so there's more scope for more points, and somehow points is similar to life.
No,
because you can because you might have a team that scores loads in football too, and would it then still be flawed?
It's not about the amount of scoring.
Uh-huh.
It's about, does the better team win, and are you rewarded for your efforts?
Of course. Footballers get...
I would argue no. I would argue you haven't... You start with the ball with your goalie. He passes it to your defender. Then the ball moves through beautifully. You know, the midfielders take on 3 or 4 guys. You get to the shot, and then the striker shanks it wide.
Well, that could happen with basketball. Someone knocks it out of the way.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. But then, so that play developed has taken maybe a couple of minutes to get from the end. And then just because the shot was completely... And you know, you call it shanked, right? Where you just hit it, or is it a golf term?
No idea.
You just slice it way wide. There's no reward for it. In basketball, you can have missed shots. But over the course of the game, if you miss every shot, then you lose. But over the course of the game, the more shot, you know, over the course of the game, the better team always ends up rewarded. It's very rare. It's
the same with football. I don't see the difference. You haven't given me the point. I don't believe you've actually made that clear for me, because one just takes longer to happen, and that's all I'm getting.
Okay,
from it.
All right. The simplest way. Let me try another way.
Because it's the same goal system. So like you score, you get a point.
Okay, I'll try another way.
Right.
Football season. How many games in the full season?
I've got no idea.
Right, Liverpool just won this season. Yeah. So you're not that much of a football fan?
No, not at all.
Okay, all right. So
that's why I play basketball rather than soccer.
Okay.
And I call it soccer rather than football.
But think about the football season. Let's say, I don't know how many games. God, I wish I knew. But let's say, I think it's like 30 games, 30 odd games. The point of the season is to have the team who's won the most games, they become the champion.
Right.
Are you familiar with how that works, the FA League? So the Premiership...
Makes sense.
They all play 30 games, and at the end, whoever's won the most wins that season, that year.
I guess that is different to what I thought, because I thought it was like everyone's matched up.
That's a tournament.
Oh, okay, right.
That's a tournament, That's the FA Cup.
I like that.
Yes. This is what I'm saying. So with the season, I don't know how long you want to go with this football stuff, but I'll just quickly finish it up.
Not too long.
So with the season, you have 30 games. So let's say everybody's played 29 games. So now this is the last game. And then there's 2 teams at the top, and they've both won 15 games each.
Yeah.
And now this is the last game. So then can you see how that last game now matters?
Yeah.
Right? Now, think about it another way. Let's say they've played 29 games, and one team has won all 29 games, and then the second best team has won 15 games. So then that last game means nothing.
Right.
Yeah, agree?
But not nothing, because if you beat the best team, then are you the best team now, or...
No, but they don't win the championship. They've won the championship because they've won 29 games. My point is...
Sounds fair
So
enough.
my point is, it's like life.
Right.
It's about short-term or long-term. Right, with football, with the actual game of football, it's just about this one moment. You can have a fluke goal that wins the game. You can have an own goal. You can have an accidental own goal where it bounces off the side of somebody's face and it goes in. And that's the goal. That's the deciding factor. So it's not about how well you play. It's not about your strategy. It's about an accidental bounce of the ball that can decide the winner or the loser. Whereas in basketball, it can't have that because...
There's no accidents in basketball?
No, because of the long-term aspect of it. Because you have to score many, many, many baskets.
Okay. Well,
so I guess if you compare it to life, it's about being a one-hit wonder or having a career with 15 multi-platinum albums.
Who's the guy that sung You're Beautiful?
James Blunt.
James Blunt. Okay, so that's a one-hit wonder for you, right?
Okay.
Now I'm just going to try and change this over to music.
Good.
And then there's Ed Sheeran, who's got tons of...
A library.
of like kind of hits.
Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't mean that James Blunt hasn't had other hits, but we just don't. They're not radio play.
I don't think it's fair. Let's not say James Blunt. Let's say Barbie Girl.
But that's Aqua, and they've had more than one hit.
Okay, but James Blunt.
Actually, I
think
could count 2 Aqua songs. I can only count 1 James Blunt one. So I'm using him. Okay, I'm going to stick with James Blunt.
I don't want to diss James Blunt.
I'm not dissing him.
like
He's very
James
funny
Blunt.
on Twitter, and like if he ever watched this, he'd probably have a great comeback for us. But my point is, I mean, whether I like his music or not has nothing to do with it. But he's very much known for that song, which kind of propelled him into the stratosphere, and then. He didn't continue that kind of success with future singles.
That's my point.
Whether it doesn't matter whose reason it is, whether the songs weren't good or whether he wasn't pushed or promoted.
Yes.
The industry just decided that, well, we don't want him because we want someone else. We want someone younger or easier to manipulate. Who knows? Whatever the reasons are. My point is that Ed Sheeran's been very consistent.
Yes.
And so whatever principle got James Blunt to that point. It's easy to get to the top. It's harder to stay there. That seems to be the rule. Dr. Dre talks about it a lot in his music, and Ed Sheeran has consistently stayed at number 1 and on top, and has for a few years now. But you can see his build as well. James Blunt went from nothing to everything, but Ed Sheeran's had a slow, consistent build, and that's the thing. So he's on the way. He's accumulated life stories, and he's actually put in a lot. I'm not saying that James Blunt hasn't put any effort in beforehand, but it was a bit of a product, that first single. It was. They knew it was going to be a sale. There was a big push behind it, and it was a great song. But here's the thing: like they're coming from different places. So is this kind of what you're?
That's exactly
right.
it. Football. James Blunt is football because that one goal.
I see.
That's what I'm saying. I'm comparing with basketball, you have to be consistent. You have to score the hoops consistently. You have to score consistently throughout the game. Then whoever's the most consistent, whoever scored the most, because it's so many to compare with, right? With football, you don't know if that one hit was a fluke or an accident, and all the consistent work that the other team has done, but they scored 0, they automatically lose.
So it's just
That's what I'm saying.
too many variables.
Yes,
that could
that's a good
influence.
point. That's a good word.
Have an outside influence, the wind, for example.
Too many variables. Whereas with basketball, I feel like it's more controlled.
But I wouldn't put that down to a reward, though, because once there is a win, there's a clear win. Whether it's a tournament or like you said with how many games you win in a season, there is still a reward. So maybe I just understood you wrong in the first. About what you get from it. The winners are winners, losers are losers. There's still only one winner at the top at the end of the day.
Well,
and there's second place, third place, fourth place. So when it comes to winning and like actual celebration, that's similar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the fact that there is a way to score goals and there's people doing that.
Wait, there isn't a way to score goals. I would argue.
A ball into a net, or you throw the ball into a net. They're very similar things.
See, this is another thing. This is very different. So, whoever the best football player in the world is, I don't know whoever it is. Let's call it Diego Maradona. If you give him the ball on his own, in front of his own goal, and then say go and score, we need a goal. The chance of him scoring, and I'm a numbers person, is probably less than 5%.
But that doesn't.
Wait, let me finish.
Funny sound.
The chance of him scoring is less than 5%. Even the best football player in the world.
Yes.
Diego Maradona. If you give the ball to Michael Jordan, the best basketball player in the world, and then go get a basket, it'd be over 50% chance that he can get a basket.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is,
smaller court, less people, less variable.
Yeah.
It's
So
a different game.
Yeah, but if you give it to me or you, what I'm saying is me or you would also have 5%, maybe. Okay, let's say we have 1% chance. So the difference between me, you, and Maradona is this much. The difference between me, you, and Michael Jordan is from here to the clouds. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but to even get to the point of being Maradona doesn't mean he's worked any less than Michael Jordan. Do you see what I mean? It's just a different sport.
Yeah,
there's still winners and losers.
That doesn't have.
There's still a net to get a goal from, or like a point or a score. That doesn't change. Like the actual physical, this has got to go in there, is no different. It's just a different shape. And okay, the game's different, the rules are different, the size of the court's different, the amount of people playing are different. This is tiny, this is big, and that's less likely to go in, that's more likely to go in, and it has to in order to get more points. That doesn't have to, because you only have to have one more than that one to win. But still, there's a score.
Yeah, but
and there's a winner and a loser. So I still haven't
There's a big
completely
difference.
grasped what maybe there's.
Okay, one last one, and then let's move off this topic.
Formulate it, yeah.
Last one.
Yeah.
So the reason, if what you want to grasp is why I prefer basketball, but also we have to think about.
Yeah, let's go back to the initial question.
Do I prefer it as a fan or as a player? Those are two different things, also. But anyway, just quickly, the last comparison, basketball to football, it's kind of like comparing golfers.
I think we're good on that now.
It's kind of like comparing golfers and then deciding who's the best golfer in the world, deciding that by seeing who has scored the most holes in one. I don't know if you're a golf person. So
I understand, yeah.
So that's not how they measure who's a good golfer.
No.
And you can see why. Because getting a hole in one, yes, it takes some skill.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not something you can do consistently. It's not something anyone can do on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
The same way, scoring a goal in football, it's the purposeful, deliberate action is very small. Whereas in basketball, getting a hoop, it's a very purposeful and deliberate action. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but people don't accidentally score goals. People go to get that goal.
I think
and they either get saved.
Yeah, that's why
or
I'm putting
deflected
numbers
or
on
not.
it. That's why I'm putting
Right.
numbers on it. Even Maradona, if you give him the ball from the halfway line, say go and score, under 5% chance. That's what I'm saying. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Because of the variables.
Right. So there's too many variables, which is why it's less fun for me to watch. Whereas with basketball,
there's the
it's
point,
around
though.
50%.
But you just said it. There's the point. It's less fun for you to watch.
Mm-hmm.
For me, there's two types of rugby, right? There's union and league, or whatever it is. One's really fast paced and it keeps moving. And actually, I'm not a Ruggers fan, but that's more fun to watch, But the other one stops and starts, and you've got to wait for them to reset, and that's fucking boring, to me. So yeah, I like a faster paced game too.
It's not about fast pace. Again, it's just about
But it is though, isn't it?
something that makes sense.
Well,
it can be slow. I like golf.
But
for example.
you like the shots of dopamine you get from seeing that action happen, no?
No way.
Why is it more fun then?
Because, like I said, it's more. I hate to use this word because life isn't fair, but because it's more fair than football.
Oh, it's more fair.
Yeah, did you not get that? Sorry.
Right.
Sometimes I skip over the obvious thing. It's because it's more fair. Like what I'm saying is, if you're good in basketball, you have a better chance of beating your opponent. In football, I don't even know what is good and what is a good football player versus a bad football player because they all have like 5%.
Well, you'll see it
chance of
over the
scoring.
years. Consistency, goal scores. How able they are to, how much control they have the ball, how often they get the ball and keep it and take it from other people. Again, it's very similar to basketball where people are kind of guarding, defending, and shooting. There's similar kind of positions in that respect. So I'm still having trouble.
But this is talk
But
hack.
we're going to have to leave it.
We got to move on.
We're going to move it there, yeah, because actually...
It's not...
Because actually we wanted to talk about you, and I wanted to get into a bit more about what you do.
Okay.
Okay, so we've talked quite a lot about your theory on basketball and my lack of knowledge on the sports.
I think it was pretty useless.
Don't
you
be
have
sorry,
to edit
Tan.
it down.
It's brilliant. I'm not editing. No
you
editing.
have to edit it.
Nope.
That doesn't... None of that...
This is going to be live. There's no editing.
Fine, I'll leave it. I'll leave it with you.
No editing.
Okay, then I'm going to be in the
You think
comments
Joe
telling
Rogan
them to
edits?
skip.
You think Joe Rogan edits? No, he doesn't. The whole thing's there. And that's what makes it interesting because we want these little flaws. Make us human.
Okay.
And human is enough. It's good enough. People understand.
I have a big problem with editing.
Well, I have to edit it.
I
just
started
to cut
my
from
career.
you to me to the two of us.
I started my career as an editor, and
Better. There you go. More even.
oh yeah, that's much better.
Yeah. Especially as I'm sitting more back.
Well, then that makes us even more reason why you should start now,
No.
because now you have the nice t-shirt.
No, that was great. We got some good stuff in there. And actually, because hopefully that will spark some conversation and thoughts and opinions from other people. And that's what we want,
Okay.
So, guys, if you've got anything to say about that, please, you feel free to comment or
Now we're
write
gonna
in
get
and
bashed
complain.
by all the football fans.
Tell me, you're a filmmaker, you're a content creator mainly, right? Am I correct there?
Yes, filmmaker in a previous life.
Okay. All right. So, what would you call yourself now then?
Good
As a
question.
career, as a
I would call myself a content marketer.
content marketer. Is that like advertising?
advertising is part of it.
Right.
So basically, I believe in marketing using content. So content meaning stories, put it simply.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about, and marketing is, it's one of those dirty words now. It's before it used to be sales. Sales is the worst.
No,
word.
sales and marketing are different things.
Yeah, I know. But what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying is before it used to be sales, people really look down upon sales. You're going to sell me something. And now marketing is becoming that. Like, oh, you're a marketer. Oh, you're going to market something to me.
That's because everyone's using the same fucking formula to sell to us. They think it's marketing, but they're trying to discover their market by selling badly with sales funnels. And to me, sales funnels are like the ugly shoes of marketing, right? They are. They're just like, they came into fashion and they should have gone out, but people are still fucking wearing them. They're still ugly. They were ugly before they're in fashion. They're ugly now. You know what I mean? Sales funnels and that whole kind of trap and that trick which people think is marketing is not marketing. Marketing is going to market. Right, marketing is literally opening up, setting up your stall, inviting people to come along and see what you have on offer.
Yes.
And your ability to do that well is not by not by having a louder voice, it's not by copying the same tricks as others, but it's good to recognize those. But recognize what is sales and marketing are differ. You know what I mean? Getting people to your stall is marketing. Getting them to buy a product from you is sales.
Yep.
That's the way I see it. But then there's other ways of seeing it. But I see so many people, and I'm fed up with signing up to things I think are interesting.
Yeah.
Like ideas and voice coaches and new things that I'm, which are part of my world. And then getting a whole, like every day a new email with a little hack or a little thing. And then then eventually it's like this extra course or this extra thing and trying to sell me more and trying to sell me more. I get it. People want people to come back, but Mac don't do that. I still buy Nike shoes, but Nike don't do that to me. They're not fucking knocking at my door every day saying, do you want to buy something else? Come on, I'm being friendly. I told you a story. I don't care if you told me a story. You're being nice to me. I know what it's for and I can see through it. And that now it's so dated, that whole approach, that I feel embarrassed that I ever made a sales funnel in the first place. I feel embarrassed for myself as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's growing. And I've seen all my growth from giving away, just giving, not asking. I wanted to collect emails and I've slowed down on that now because, well, actually, no, I'm not. People are giving me them wantingly, freely, without me asking, which is great because people want to get in touch with me because I'm giving them so much, so much value. I've got 200 videos now. I've been doing one every day, every Monday to Friday. And that has seen more growth, more respect from people and a lot more trust. Whereas the people who are getting these sales funnels sneaking by and using these tricks, which they're buying the ideas from others who are selling to them in the very same manner, like Dan Locke and all these people who've got these fantastic ideas but are actually full of shit. They are selling an old principle and using them to manipulate an audience. So the second they've got their money, it's like, see you later. There's no value in that at all. And I'm fed up with seeing it. To me, it's ugly. It's outdated, outmoded, and it really doesn't represent what marketing is. Understanding data, understanding your audience, and providing them with the value that they require is one thing. However, using that data against them to manipulate them, to buy something they don't really want, is not helping anyone. And that's what's destroying this name of marketing. As you said, like it's become an ugly word. That's exactly why. And I stand by that. If anyone's got anything to say, I truly am passionate about that.
Yeah.
In fact, I was asked, I got into the, talk about myself a bit here.
No.
I was in the final of this year's, the semi-final of this year's Nordic Business Forum speaker competition. And my topic was the future of marketing. However, it's not happening. So, and it's no longer relevant next year.
Because
so I
of
can't.
2020.
Yeah. And I was going to be up against one of my favorite speakers in the world. Who's Eric Edmeades. He does a lot with Mind Valley. He has
So this is a competition. You got to semi-finals.
Yeah.
And is it postponed?
No, it was postponed, but then they've cancelled it.
But surely you'll be invited back next year.
No, because
cancel.
the message, it won't be relevant next year. The topics will be different.
Yeah, but
the world has moved on.
They should invite the same people with a new topic.
They have to open it up because it'll be different topics.
That's so weird. That's like having an NBA champion and then just not having it this year.
Yeah.
Your win doesn't count.
It's Yeah, it is unfortunate because that was a really good opportunity, and I was all prepared for it.
Well, why don't you just put that talk out?
I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going
Uh,
to.
The future of marketing, you say?
The future of marketing, but there was 3 topics: future of work, future of marketing, and disrupting work.
Okay.
Something or other. There's a lot of slapback from this headphones.
How do you know?
I can hear it from the headphones. I'm wondering why. It's like latency, but
Have you tested this setup?
yeah, I did it the other day with Steve. I had
Then it
Steve.
should
You
be
know
fine.
Stephen Lee, don't you?
Yes, I do.
He was in episode 1. Guys, if you haven't checked that out, go and check it out now. Anyway, we're slipping again. I went on a
Yes.
little rant. I'm very sorry.
No,
everyone,
I
but
love it. I love
I'm
your
truly
rants.
passionate about the fact that, because you know what, as a boy,
Mm.
I worked on a market stall, right? A busy market stall in London, and actually that was my whole,
That
pitch
was your
about the
introduction
future.
to marketing.
Yeah, well, no, it was my introduction to the story that I was going to be telling in the presentation. And it was, well, having been someone who's worked on an actual physical market space,
Yep.
I know what that is.
Yep.
Because the word market came from marketplaces.
Exactly.
And these places have been successful for tens of thousands of years, arguably, and still are in many parts of the world. So what is it that makes them function and work well?
Yeah.
Having a loud voice does actually work well.
I was
going to
say that.
that.
Because you said before it's not about the loud voice, but
Not
I don't think
digitally,
you should automatically dismiss
No.
loud voices.
I hadn't had the opportunity to actually go into detail why.
Okay.
Why I made that statement. And actually, because I want to contradict it as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's not just about that. It is another thing. But I think we should leave that for another day
Okay.
because I want to talk about you. Let's get back to your career and
Okay.
and actually, yeah, content creation and
Yeah. Content marketing.
content marketing. Right.
Because creation comes, I think, as part of it.
Mhm.
I'll create it if you need me to create it.
Yeah.
But essentially, the overall bucket is marketing. Now, the reason I'm not as pessimistic as you.
I'm not pessimistic.
Okay, the reason
I'm just opinionated.
the reason I'm a little bit more optimistic. Can I say it that way? Well, I don't know.
That's do you know what? That's a much more pleasant way to hear it.
Because I think there's 2 different worlds. There's a world of marketers teaching other marketers.
Mhm.
Now, don't forget, our job is not to teach or to learn from other marketers. Our job is to get people to drink more tea or to buy this microphone or to come and visit this lake. It's not about anything else. So the same way, if I'm a guitar teacher,
Mhm.
I'll have lots of opinions on other guitar teachers. But at the end of the day, all I care about are the kids who want to learn guitar. The same way, I don't care about Dunlop. I care about this tea brand who wants me to get them more tea drinkers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way I see it. So I think there's 2 different worlds. And you have to remember, okay, once you're in this world where everybody's teaching everybody, sure, take whatever you need. So whenever Dan Locke has something interesting, I'll take it.
Of course, yeah.
But he's not my client and I'm not his client.
No, I was talking about his ulterior motive behind, what he's selling, not what he's giving. Because actually he does give a lot of value and it comes from a great place. But I was using him as an example, actually, then, more because of his manipulation of his students. And there's been a lot.
But we can't be mad at other people doing other things.
I'm not mad
to other people.
I'm not mad at him. I'm actually mad with the purpose of it and how it benefits the world, how it benefits anyone when ultimately it only goes to one place. And people are buying things falsely and not getting what they're paying for. That bothers me. Because then it lets everyone else down, the ones that are doing genuine work, like yourself, people aren't going to trust marketing. Like you said, it's become a dirty word because they've been manipulated. And everyone knows they're not numbers. Everyone trusts the data, loves the data. But then they start hating the data when it's used against them. And here's the thing, if it's not used for the good, it's used for what? Make someone rich. It's simple as that. There's no other way. If it's not used for good, business is business, and I get people want to grow and earn money, and we live in kind of capitalist society, so there's opportunity for growth, and it's good. It keeps people fresh and hungry and on their toes. But there is that element of there's also manipulation and and a lot of people preying on hopes and dreams and vulnerabilities. And I'm trying to help people with their vulnerabilities and come out and feel better about themselves with what I do as a voice coach. And I don't like it when I see people using techniques I use to help others in order to just take from them.
Yeah, I get that.
That bothers me. And that's why I use him, because he's a prime example of someone who's at the top of his game. Yeah, he's giving value, but he's also fucking a lot of people off.
How do you know?
There's a lot of stuff been recently
But there's
popping
stuff
up online.
Like that for everyone. They talk about Tony Robbins. They talk about this guy. They talk about...
it's true.
One thing I've learned about the friggin' internet, man.
Yeah.
I swear to you, even the most...
It'll happen to me, I'm sure.
No, but even the most well-meaning... Like, somebody like... I'm a huge Ray Dalio fan, for example.
I know the name.
Right, Ray Dalio, he's in his 80s. At least he's in his 70s. You know, he's a hedge fund billionaire. He has nothing more to... everything he does is just for your good. He's like I said, he's in his 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe late 70s. So he doesn't need to earn any more money. He's a multi-billionaire in his late 70s, which means I can safely assume he doesn't want to rip me off.
Right, yeah.
And he has nothing to sell.
Yeah.
And there's another guy, Naval Ravikant. He openly says, everything I do is for free. He doesn't sell anything. So there are people out there who don't sell anything. So my point was, no matter how well-meaning you are, people will criticize you.
Yeah.
People are crazy.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna say, oh yeah, people are criticizing Dan Locke, then people are criticizing friggin' Sadhguru. All right? So you can't judge someone's authority or authenticity based on how many criticism.
Actually, I took mine from students of his who have kind of like started exposing some of the way.
What I'm saying is, generally, we can complain about everyone. So, and one more thing I want to say, which is, I was recently reading a couple of books. I was reading one book. Never Split the Difference.
Never Split the Difference.
Oh my God, what's the guy's name? He's quite well. Anyway, it's about negotiating, and it's about an FBI negotiator.
Okay.
Right, and he was telling there's a part in the book. He was telling a story about how he walked into this office, and at the beginning of his career, and he went to see the boss, the woman, and he said, I want to be a negotiator. Because he was doing something else in the FBI. He was doing something else, and he wants to be a negotiator. Before I tell you her response, I'm going to give you a parallel story. And a friend of mine, he was talking just recently. This is in real life. So one was in the book, and a parallel story in real life. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was talking about his daughter applying to music school.
Right.
And he was saying, there's lots. You can choose your instrument, and he was saying she wants to choose the piano line. Right? Now, I'll tell you the response from the book. The FBI chief, the woman, told him when he said, I want to be a negotiator, she said, join the fucking queue. Everybody wants to be a negotiator. My friend, whose daughter wanted to play piano is too... Everybody wants to play piano. Everybody. So if you think about those things, everybody wants to be a negotiator. Everybody wants to play piano. When you're in a particular circle, that's all you see. When you work in a hospital, everybody's fucking sick. Right. So again, if you're a marketer and all you're doing is marketing stuff about marketing and learning from marketers, talking about marketing, teaching marketers, then that's all you're going to be thinking. So if you're a marketer, go out and actually market some real products. Like go out and sell something, a product, a thing that's not teaching somebody else to market. So that's what I'm saying. Otherwise, all you're going to be seeing is this. Just like this guy who all he sees is everybody wants to be a negotiator. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Whereas in our world, how many people do you know that wants to be an FBI negotiator?
But it's interesting.
It's about circles.
I think I've got an analogy that might kind of work with that is, writers, great writers or great painters don't get great by looking at other paintings or reading other books necessarily. They go out and live life. They get real-time stories and events. Like they go sailing and what was it? That Joseph Mallard William Turner, the famous 18th century, I think, painter, who was very kind of abstract expressionist, but you could see the form through the haze.
Yeah.
He literally, back in those days, strapped himself to the top of a mast of a ship to get the feeling, and then he rushed home and tried to recreate this feeling in a visual format.
I love
he
that.
didn't go to the gallery and go,
Right.
how can I fucking do that?
Exactly.
How does Van Gogh do it?
That's a
What
good
would I do?
analogy. It's like wanting to be an artist, going to the gallery and then
And drawing other
sketching that
artists'
down.
paintings. Yeah, it's not going to do
But
the
that's
same
not
thing.
bad. But what I'm saying, you have to
No.
open everything. Maybe that can be one trick. You go to the gallery, then you take that stuff in, and then. But
Yeah, of
you
course.
can't be
You need-
narrow.
it is-
You have to be completely wide open in taking influences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, we made a point.
Right, let's get to it. Let's move on. Well, in that case, because you're obviously a content marketer,
Yeah.
and you've been a filmmaker.
Yeah.
You know, you worked in TV. You've done some like a big show, Hollyoaks, if I remember
Yes.
rightly. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I don't want to go
Yeah.
too deep down the rabbit hole, but
Hollyoaks.
how was that experience for
It's
you?
well, for people who don't know, it's a very popular teen soap in the UK.
Is it still going now?
Yeah, it's still going.
Yeah, wow,
I believe.
long time.
Although we don't get Channel 4 here, so I don't know, but I believe it's still going.
Mhm.
It is a very long time. And it's had so many periods where they're about to cancel it, but it lived on.
Yeah.
And Hollyoaks is known for hip, young, sexy. You know, when you don't...
Like they're doing here in Finland with Rantabari.
Are they? Is there a thing now?
Yeah.
I don't know what Rantabari is.
I was on it.
Oh, okay. That's why it's
No,
sexy.
but it's
You brought the sex to
Salad de
Rantabari.
is like their EastEnders.
That's what I was gonna say.
Rantabari is kind of
More
like
glossy.
an offshoot of that, but for younger people.
Got it.
More about like college life and coming of age kind of stuff.
Yeah,
between.
so that's what Hollyoaks is. More glossy and younger and more experimental with stories and...
But you were a director though. Right?
Yeah, I directed.
That's what I'm interested in, is the
Okay.
directing side of it, because that brought you into the content marketing, and that's kind
No,
of
not really.
well, eventually it did. If you did that before
I
and
don't
you're doing
use-
this now,
I don't think I use any lesson or skill that I learned from directing Hollyoaks today.
not even storytelling.
No, not
No?
at all.
Oh, okay. I was
Not
really hoping
at
to find a
all.
link there.
I'll tell you.
All right.
I'll tell you why. So I remember, because before Hollyoaks,
Yeah.
for 5 years, I was fully on the path to becoming Quentin Tarantino, right? Because storytelling,
If you're going to become anyone,
yeah. Because I was, that's my storytelling hero.
Yeah.
So when 91, Bulls won the championship. 92, Bulls won the second championship, and Reservoir
Pulp Fiction.
Dogs came out.
was that Reservoir? Okay.
92, 94 was Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
That's when Michael Jordan was retired. I can always
Wow.
connect every year to a basketball event. Anyway,
Wow.
so Tarantino, I was wanting to be Tarantino. I was making my own films, bunch of short films. I was making music videos, and I was learning how to tell stories my own way,
Yeah.
right?
Back
And
in
then-
Manchester, right? Where you from?
Manchester and London, and I lived in Los Angeles for a year.
Okay. As a teenager.
No, this was, so we're talking,
But like early 90s when you
no.
when you wanna be-
Hollyoaks was 2000.
No, I'm talking about the Tarantino wannabe
Yeah,
years.
I'll tell you, the Tarantino wannabe years were from 2000 to 2007.
Okay, right. Yeah.
2000 to 2007. So I was in my early 20s.
Right.
And then, so I was making films, and I was making short films, music videos, and I was getting some, I had some film festival success, and I was getting noticed. And then I got an agent.
Wow.
I actually had an agent in LA, but I got an agent in London when I came back from LA. And then that's how I got Hollyoaks through my agent. And the first question I asked, I remember the woman her name is Trina. And the first question I asked, I clearly remember this moment because I couldn't figure it out. And I said, she was like I can't remember what her role was, but she was like the boss.
Right.
Yeah. So I said, what is a director supposed to do? And I remember she was confused by that question. And to this day, I still think it's a super valid question because you've done Salad to Element and you've done the other thing, right? In an ongoing soap, there's no need for a director. I'm going to say something really super controversial. There's no need for a director. It directs itself. And especially for somebody like me who's coming from a real filmmaking background where it's my script, it's actors who I've put into this script, it's the camera guy who I've selected, or it's me on the camera, and I'm telling this story, and it's my film. Whatever you see on screen, I've made every decision that resulted in what you see on the screen. And then going to like a big TV show that's a machine with actors that have been playing that role for 5, 6, 7, 10 years. Stories that I did not write. Man, I'm not bashing. I loved it. I love the experience. But what I'm saying is, director's job is minimal. You go on, you step onto the set. It's a set that has been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
Actors that have been good, so they own it. The actors own it, and there's nothing for you to do. I mean, you can kind of manipulate tiny little things, and I'd like to believe that my episode, I've been told, I have it on the record that my episodes were better. Like some of the best feedback I got was from writers, because they write different episodes.
Yeah.
And then different directors direct their episodes.
Yes.
And I got a couple of writers, and I still have those messages, who wrote me after the episodes aired, like, your episodes were way better than the other directors. Somehow you interpreted my script
The way I even envisioned it
differently. You brought it alive, and that was the biggest compliment to me.
Yeah.
Because for me, if you're a filmmaker, it's difficult to go into a TV series, especially the crew. They're 9-to-5ers. This is a huge difference. They go into a 9-to-5 job. As a director, I'm there for 2 months, and I'm like taking this. I'm making film. Like I said, I'm a Tarantino wannabe. This is my Tarantino moment. I'm making this. I want to make this the best it can be. But those guys, if it's a job, it's completely different to when you're a freelancer.
Yes.
So directors were freelance, and everybody else were in a job. So there's already a conflict. They just want to come to work and go home. I want to come and make art.
Yes. Yeah, make art. That's very important, isn't it? But
so if anything, I had to unlearn so many things. I just had to there's nothing for me to do. The actors, there's no...
You become another cog in the machine, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. You really have to kind of... It's a different job, isn't it? Like, there's directors, but then it's a different type of directing job.
And think about now, if she didn't answer it this way, but if somebody would ask me now, what's the job of a director on a TV series? I would answer, understand people. That's all your job is, just to understand people. It's not about film school. It's not about TV. It's not about understanding lights. It's not about understanding camera angles. It's not about understanding drama even. That would help. But if you understand people, you'll succeed. I guess you could say that for any job.
You can communicate with them.
Yes.
Because understanding them is one thing. If you're not able to voice this
huge.
knowledge back, and I guess as a director, for me, I'd assume that it is clarity, and you're kind of just putting things in the right place. You need to be doing this. You got that good. You got that great. You're ready, aren't you? Lovely. Okay, then we're ready to go. You're sort of like orchestrating in a way.
I know, but it really doesn't matter where you put the camera. It doesn't matter where.
But you're making, at the end of the day, you've been given the kind of decision-making hat on that day.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Which means communicating.
Because otherwise it could get sloppy and no one's really keeping it. But surely you got a first AD in those situations. Yep. Right. So they're doing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And you were just going.
They're doing all of that.
I'll just sit here then.
Yeah. Really.
All right.
That's
nice. Nice work if you can get it.
Yeah.
But soul destroying after a while, I guess, if you're a creative person.
It wasn't soul. I mean, I'm not bashing it in any way. I loved those years. I did it for 4 years.
Okay.
No, 3 years. And I loved it. I loved it. But what I'm saying is, it's not something for a filmmaker. If you want to make films, you don't go and direct daytime TV.
Right. Okay. Here we go. I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Number 1, content marketing hack. Go.
Number 1 content marketing hack. So what's the end goal?
You're on the spot now. You have
what's
to answer
the end goal?
Doesn't matter. A hack. So, I don't know, because I'm not necessarily a content marketer. So whatever you think is the most useful nugget of advice, that if you could tell a younger you to advance much faster, what would it be? And I deliberately didn't send you this question beforehand, because I want to put you on the spot and see what comes up.
I like it. Man, it's going to be... You know what? The best hacks I have a podcast called Noticing the Obvious.
Noticing the Obvious, everyone. Now check that out. If I'll put a link in the somewhere below. I'm not sure where it's going to go yet.
The reason it's called that is because I believe the best hacks are obvious. We already know them.
Mm-hmm.
You know them, and I know them, and everybody knows them. That's why the truth is obvious, and that's why it's the truth, and you know it. But sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, we forget it. It's buried under a lot of pile of noise.
So give us one. Let's have it.
So the hack to be success. You said successful content marketer.
No, not successful, but what is a good content marketing hack?
Okay.
So what is something that people is actionable, people can actually do and go, oh, wow, that's great.
Well, here's another thing.
Or a way into it, or something they can understand better about that whole process that you've learned.
Okay.
What's something that you say to yourself you wake up and go, I'm so glad I fucking developed that skill now. I wish I knew that 10 years ago.
Okay, I got it.
That's the kind of thing.
Then,
so it makes it a hack because you've done it and other people might not have.
Okay, the hack is don't study marketing, don't study content. Study human behavioral psychology.
That's brilliant. Human behavioral psychology. So watch lots of Jordan Peterson and...
If you think Jordan Peterson is giving you human behavioral psychology, then yeah.
Well, he has some, doesn't he? He's got,
sure. I love Jordan Peterson, but what I'm saying is my hack isn't study Jordan Peterson. My hack is study human behavioral psychology.
Okay. And have you got any good books that you could recommend or that you've read on those topics?
Oh, I think I would start with either Sapiens.
Okay, right. So that would come under that. That's Yuval Noah Harari. Yes.
Because
it's a good book. I just finished it actually a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, did you?
It's a long book.
You want to study books like that is it doesn't tell you what to do. It tells you how things were. So if you
there's a little bit of kind of guessing about the future as well.
Yeah. But once you understand I'll tell you how you can apply that, how you can use that to apply it in content marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So what is content marketing? All it is to me, it's telling somebody about a product or a service. You can narrow it to there. So you have, in any company, there's only two sections for me. There's only two compartments. One is the people who are making the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Part two, the second compartment is people who are telling others about the thing. I'll give you one of my favorite quotes. It's Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller, who was the richest American in history. He probably still is today. One of my favorite quotes of his is, next to doing the right thing, the next best thing is telling people about it. I love that because
So say that one more time.
Okay, so the best thing to do is to do the right thing.
Yes.
The next best thing to do is tell people about it.
Right, okay, yeah.
Now, the reason I love that is I've told this to a few people and people take it different ways. Some people take, oh, well, that's just bragging. Like, no, that's not bragging. Don't forget, you can't skip step one. Step one is do the right thing, do something good. But then step two is tell people about it. You're allowed to, not just allowed, you should tell people about it. Only if you've done step one. And people automatically assume, and tell people about it. Well, what about people who are lying? And well, yeah, then you haven't done step one.
Yeah.
So you're not allowed to judge step two.
Yeah. I have a lot of voiceover artists, like voice coaches pop up on my feed. Obviously, it's something I search, it's something I study. And some of them pinpoint things about themselves which are really irrelevant.
Right.
And like bigging them in order to
Right. Well, that means they're going straight to step two, which is telling people about it. Well, you can't skip step one.
I don't even know if they've done step one or not. The point is that it somehow doesn't feel real. It's like, why do you think that's important? That to me, like there's one. I'm not going to say any names. Of course, it's not unfair because they're still doing their best. I hope. And like one person wants to highlight how many countries he's reached or taught in. I'm like, why the fuck does that matter? There's like numbers of countries that you've reached has nothing to do with the act of making people more articulate or making people, can you do the job? That's what I'm interested in. And actually the person that I'm talking about, I'm not going to say their name, they mumble. They've got a big boomy voice, but I as someone who listens to a lot of people speak, had trouble with some of his words articulating. And I thought,
is it an accent thing?
And well, slightly, yes. But here's the thing: if you're going to put yourself forward as someone who can help, they think they can cure stuttering and they can cure mumbling and lisps and things, but they can't articulate their own words clearly and effectively. Therefore, why should I trust them? Just because you've got a deep voice, you also need to be able to formulate the sounds of those words for others to hear and understand. And it's not even like a foreign English voice, because they live in LA. But it's just a bit too cool for school, and it's all show. You know, it's like, what did you fucking say, mate? You know, your voice coach? No, you got to do a bit more work on there. Anyway, here I go off again on my little tangent, my little passionate dissing others. But here's the thing: I'm not going to mention the name because that's unfair. But I do have. So it's coming back to the point of.
The point was, I'm a big believer in
doing step one.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in telling people. Right,
yeah. So it's how you tell them. That was my point. It's how you tell them. Because you could overblow that, you know what I mean? And Finland, we know definitely that there's an awkwardness about sharing what you're good at or kind of vocalizing yourself. There's an awkwardness around. It's in the culture, I find, about being humble and not trying to
absolutely.
To
and it's
off.
not just Finland; it's generally.
But
we're taught to be humble.
Yeah. Well, China, it happens a lot. In fact, that's almost pushed
right,
under.
And that goes against what Rockefeller was talking about. It's about doing the right thing and then telling people about it. Anyway, I haven't connected it because what I was telling you was I'll connect it to human behavioral psychology.
Thank you.
It's because, we were saying, in any company, in any business, there's two parts. There's making the thing and then telling people about the thing. Right? And everyone within a given company has to be doing one of those two things. You're either making it or you're helping tell people about it. And so first you have to, as a company leader, you have to see that. You have to identify, I'm telling people about it. And I see so many people, and I'm talking whether startups or large companies, so many people who are reluctant to do the second part. Oh, it's all about let's make the product, let's make it really good. You know, let's make the product better. But then they neglect telling people about it. So
there's a safety in that first one.
Yeah.
Some people hide behind that, expecting it to reach the world.
But you can't. It's 2020.
It's like perfectionism as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't get you anywhere.
It's 2020. A good product is no longer enough.
Yeah. It's not
you
even
have
always
to
necessary.
Tell people, oh gosh, if we don't want to go. Well, yeah, that's what I mean. We don't want to skip that.
Well, it's like me turning off some of these cameras. Like, I haven't got a proper studio here. I'm doing my best. I'm not going to cut away any of that yet. You should. No, I think it's actually quite cute and funny. And
fine, yeah.
It shows part of the fact that it's real.
I've done
and
that.
It's not too polished. And actually, I got that from Gary V.
Okay.
Gary Vaynerchuk. He's like, stop judging yourself too
I agree.
much. Stop trying to be perfect. You know, the world isn't perfect. And like I got that from drama school. Human is enough. People understand.
I still think you should break it up, though. I think now we're going to hour and a half.
I'm going
to,
but for different things.
Okay.
No. This is YouTube, and actually, people listen to podcasts for hours at a time if they're into it. And here's the thing.
Making sense.
I'll have some little links to what's going to be in the show. I'll break down those specific points for separate ones, and then I'll put it together as a whole for anyone who's got the time and interest
the basketball part.
in doing that.
anyway,
I thought that was interesting, man.
Okay, I'm glad. Yeah, because I feel self-conscious about that.
No, just because I picked you up on it, and took it on a massive tangent away from which I do. I tend to do that. I'm throwing you deliberately here. I'm putting you on the spot.
love talking about basketball, but I just feel like your listeners might not care. But let's see.
Hey. I don't know who my listeners are yet.
Yeah.
This is a new podcast. Good. You are guest number 2.
But you might accidentally pull in basketball fans then, and then the rest of the episodes they want more basketball. They're not getting it. So
all of a sudden you might have got a job as a content marketer, and they're like, that guy doesn't
send them to my new
soccer enough.
My basketball show. But anyway, so to finish, so there's people who make and there's people who tell people, right? So why is human behavioral psychology important? When you're telling people, all it is, again, if you simplify it to the core, you're communicating. You're telling people about your product. So I have this thing. So then it's all about knowing who the hell you're telling, who the hell you're talking to. So it's all human behavioral psychology. So what was the example I was going to give before? Because you said, okay, so the mumbling guy who talked about, I've taught in this many countries.
Yes.
So,
But that's his main tagline. It's not.
but that's fine. Maybe he wants to. That's who he's
but
decided
that's
he
bragging,
wants to reach.
and that's not actually adding value, is it? Like, why the fuck do I care how many countries you've fucking lived in? Like, are you going to be any good for what I need?
Okay,
like, so Rockefeller, to me, I'd say that, hey, okay, I help. Yeah, I get it. I understand. But it's like,
No, I've got it.
Yeah.
I have the point. So, if he's done it consciously, all right, I'll give you two scenarios. He's done it consciously on purpose or accidentally. He's just put it there without thinking. So option one, if he's done it consciously, then he's thought, I want to tell people about all the countries I've worked in so that people who are looking for an international guy who's taught under many different geographical locations and cultures, they can see that I can adapt. Let me finish.
It's good.
I can do this.
No,
right?
I'm not going to.
Because they need to see that I have a client base outside of Los Angeles.
Yes.
If he's done it accidentally, if he's not thought about it, he's probably just gone, this is what I want to say. I'm proud of this, and I don't care if anybody's offended by it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm just being a bad sport, and like this is competition for me. So like, I know exactly what. Yeah. Oh my goodness, the time. We're gonna have to wrap this up.
Steven's waiting.
Yeah. I'm really sorry, man. Thank you, Tan. I'm sorry for distracting you and bringing you off. I wish we had more time.
I know.
Maybe in the future when this is a bit more embedded,
Yep.
and I'm a bit more clearer on what this whole thing is, you'll come back again and we'll talk a bit more specifically, and I can give you some more notes. But I've got a challenge for you, and you can't leave that seat until you've taken the challenge.
Oh gosh.
I have it right here on my teleprompter. I think it's third one. Basically, mate. That's the second one. Here we go.
I love
this is a tongue
prepared.
twister, right? And I recently just did a competition on my YouTube channel, Improve Your Voice, and 10 winners got to have my advanced articulation course free. So, but this was the tongue twister, and I'm not going to give you any preparation.
Okay.
It's here, and I'm going to help you with it. But you've got one go.
Okay.
First go, you're going to get through it as slow as you can.
Okay.
And at the end of like maybe this series, we're going to put them together and see how people have fared, see how you've done. All right. Because this is Talk Hack, I'm a voice coach. I'm really curious and interested how people tackle it.
Okay. And you're going to give us tips at the end.
Just a bit of fun. No.
You're not going to teach.
Maybe when I put them together, I might. We haven't really got time for that because we've got someone waiting for us.
So this is just to see how much I mess up.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So just have fun with it, but yeah, just try and do it your best. Okay, I'm gonna start here, and I'm gonna help you with it, with the moving.
So do I go?
Whenever you are ready.
Give me the gift of a grip top sock, a clip drape ship shape tip tock sock. Not your spiv, slick, slapstick, slip, shod stock, but a plastic elastic grip top sock. None of your fantastic slap swap slop, spelling wrong there, from a slap dash flash cash haberdash.
Is it
shop.
spelt wrong?
You spelled none wrong.
None
of your fantastic.
Oh, I missed an E out. Okay.
Not a knick knack knitlock knock need knickerbocker sock. With a mix shot blob mott led trick ticker took clock. Not a rucked up puckered up flop top sock, nor a super sheer seersucker pucker sack smock sock. God damn it. Not a spock speckled frog freckled cheap chics sock. Off a hodgepodge moss blotched botched scotch block. Nothing slip, slop, drip, drop, flip, flop, or glip, glop. Tip me to a tip-top, grip-top sock.
Hurrah!
Boom!
That was really good, Tan.
This is
really
going to be
good.
like...
And you even pointed out a spelling mistake on the way. That's advanced.
I'm a linguistic geek.
Wow.
This is going to be like Top Gear, where you have all the different people's times.
I might have a score chart. I could do that here. Brilliant. There's a little bit of space up there. We'll get a green...
Now I'm going to get competitive.
All right. Well, next time I get you back, you...
Did I beat Steven?
Huh? Well, we'll find out, won't we? We'll see.
You should be timing it.
I can time it afterwards.
Yeah, you should time the recording.
But for me, it's going to be about accuracy, and we'll see.
Okay,
we'll see.
timing and accuracy.
Yeah,
you
right.
got to give us a grade.
Yeah, you love
now, I'm into it. I'm into the competition.
Well, we're being texted because someone's waiting for us to go and play basketball with them. And
Let's go shoot some hoops.
So we're going to do that. We're actually off to play basketball now. That was Tan Lei, everybody. Have you got a link for us or some way we can find you if we wanted to use your services or get in contact? Or what was your podcast called again?
Podcast is called Noticing the Obvious.
Noticing the Obvious.
Easy
I'll put a
to
link
remember.
below this, wherever this may be, and a little bit about Tan. And if you want to get in contact with him, there'll be some details, or
That's
even
the
just
best place.
find him
That's the easiest one to start.
through the podcast. Great. Well, thank you again, Tan.
Thank you, Darren. It was super fun.
Let's go shoot some hoops.
Let's do it.
You show me how it's done.
You're taking it too easy, taking it too well. I could really shake you. You're taking